decision isn't yours to make. Don't lie about the way things are. The tall tales will take you very far. Don't scoff when they say it's the end. In this life.
Hey everyone, it's Marianne from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. Today, it is August 15th. It is Friday and it's just after 6 p.m. And we are going to do a brief little update because we have a guest today that I know you guys have been asking to talk to. And then I'm working on a guest for next week because I know you've been asking to speak with Curtis Sliwa, but he's been busy. So we asked if he was available for next week. So if he is, I'll let you know. But today we have Kayla, who is running for City Council District 47. And no, Justin's not here. So you could, text message him, email him, message him, whatever, Facebook him. He'll come on. I promise you he'll come on. He said he will, but he's busy as well. But you do have me and Kayla tonight to keep you entertained. No. Justin's not ghosting you. He's just busy. All right. So updates. There's a couple things going on. So I want you to mark your calendars because right now, I told you last week, on September 2nd is a rally day at City Hall. And we are looking to do that at about 11 a.m., but I still have to confirm the time. So keep that open for right now. Please just pencil it in or pen it in because we are definitely going to City Hall to do this rally. And it's kind of like a fun, happy rally, but I'll get more into that in a moment. But September 2nd, just pen 11 a.m. in there, and then we will update you on the time. And then we have... we're looking for you to let us know, email us in the organization's email, retirees@nycretirees.org, and let us know if you know of organizations, whether city, state, or national organizations that are supporting what we're doing. Some of you are connected to some other local organizations or community boards. We've been working with community boards and we have a good team of retirees that are doing that. And that's one of the reasons why we asked you guys to do a sign up to see if you would help us out with some of this local political action, is because we do have a team reaching out to community boards. And so we're looking to see what other local groups or organizations, political clubs that that support what we are doing and support our legislation, because that's really important. The more allies we have, that we can try to, form coalitions to try to help us. So that's what we're looking for as well. Just drop us an email and let us know. We know for sure, some of the national groups is like AARP, PNHP, Physicians for a National Health Plan, Be a Hero, RPEA, the Nassau County Retirees, Cortland County Retirees, Ithaca Retirees. These are groups that support what we're doing. So if you know of others, let us know. And if you have a contact, that's even better. And we will also connect with them too. Okay, two more things. The event that I want to do on this 2nd at City Hall, we're trying to work on this event for 11 a.m. Eric Adams' birthday, Mayor Adams' birthday, is September 1st, Labor Day. And guess what, everyone? He turned 65. Which makes him Medicare eligible. So we want to go and sing happy birthday, Mayor Adams, and bring him a birthday card and welcome him to the Medicare Club. So I'd want you guys to start sending Mayor Adams a birthday card. Just go pick up a cheap card or make a card out of crayons or pencils or download one and send it to him. And then just keep them nice and sweet. And I want you to send him a card and send it to Mayor Eric Adams. You're going to send it to the mayor's office at City Hall and New York, 10007. And in your card, when you tell him welcome to Medicare and happy birthday, Mayor Adams, ask him to please get the speaker to support 1096, and you want him to support 1096. Those are your asks. So get those cards going and keep them going, and then we are going to bring him a very big card on September 2nd. So that's why we're going on the 2nd. Then on the 6th of September, we have the Labor Day Parade. And if you remember last year, we designed a float with the Maritime Masters, Mates, and Pilots. And we designed a Staten Island ferry float after the Dorothy Day. And then the Dorothy Day Catholic Guild came and joined us because she was a very prominent figure in labor. So she, and as well as a journalist writing about labor issues. So they asked us if they can come again. And then Maritime Masters, Mates, and Pilots asked if we would join them again. And I said, sure, that sounds like fun. So September 6th, remember, it's an early morning. We'll be posting the times. We usually meet about 8 a.m.-ish, 7:30, 8 a.m. at St. Patrick's Cathedral for the Labor Mass. And then we'll head back down to where the float's parked, where our union partners are, and then wait to march down Fifth Avenue. So those are the two big events for that week, September 2nd and Saturday, September 6th. So put those on your calendar. Okay. Also, here's some of the big news for today is that many of you had been messaging us. Many of you have been messaging us that you were aware that a resolution had hit the City Council yesterday at the stated that was introduced by Lynn Shulman supporting Medicare Advantage plans and modify prior authorizations and talking about a defunct Medicare Advantage plan. You texted us, you emailed us, you Facebooked us. We want to tell you there was an issue and it wasn't Lynn's. We've advised, our advisors advised us that that resolution has been pulled and that it is no longer there, and that Lynn did not do that. Someone else had done that on her behalf, and that it is not Lynn Shulman. So I do want to let you know that for those of you that reached out to us, please don't get upset. Don't freak out. We've got that under control, and we were already told as of a few minutes ago that that resolution has been pulled. And it was a resolution to support a congressional bill to modify Medicare Advantage plans prior authorization, okay? So if you have reached out to Lynn's office, Councilwoman Shulman, please write her back and let her know that you're aware that that's been pulled. We thank her for her communications with our team and making sure that that was resolved very quickly today. So my apologies for any of you that got worried about that. Don't worry, I'm getting texted and called right now as I'm speaking to you that this has been pulled. So do not worry. So those are the asks that we have for you today, is to let us know of any organizations that are supporting you locally in your community or political groups, and let us know in an email, as well as then sending a card to Mayor Adams for his birthday ahead of our rally. So we don't go too late tonight. I want to introduce you to Kayla, who is running for City Council District 47. Some of you know her, some of you don't. I think you'll like her. Welcome, Kayla.
Hi everybody.
You've already got some questions in here somewhere.
I know, I can see. And I'm sorry to let everybody down that I am not Justin here with you. I will. I know. I see that.
Knows my Justin's
I was unaware that this was the dynamic. I will speak to him. I'm sure he wants to come back and say hi to everybody and take questions and chat with you all.
That is so funny. I told you it was going to happen. Like, where's Justin? Here, wait. Casper the ghost?
I know. We're not exactly twins, Justin and I. So I'm in case you couldn't tell, I'm not Justin. Yeah.
I know.
But I am running for his seat because he is term limited.
Yes.
So for those of you that are aware of District 47, it's Southern Brooklyn, Bay Ridge, Coney Island, Seagate. and some parts of Bath Beach, Bensonhurst, Dyker Heights, and a little bit of Gravesend too. So that's the seat I'm running for.
Very good. Very, very good. Now tell them what you've been doing, so that this will let them know how come you're best for this job.
Yeah. So I'm running because I already know how to do the job I'm running for. I am currently chief counsel to Councilmember Justin Brannan, and I have been working for him for a handful of years. I actually started working for him while I was in law school. I was an evening student at New York Law, and I would work for him in the daytime, go to law school at night. When I graduated, I practiced for a few years as a city attorney at the law department in the tort division. So I was defending the city in civil litigation, trips and falls, slips and falls, motor vehicle accidents with city vehicles, et cetera. So one of the things that I loved about that job was that it gave me this very detailed insight into how certain city agencies work.
Wow.
I got to defend city workers in depositions and at trial, which was wonderful. And then before that, I managed a nonprofit, and my husband and I also owned a bar in Bay Ridge for 6 years. So we were small business owners too. So I bring to this, a ton of experience, both inside of government, knowing how city council works and knowing how government works, but also from outside of government and knowing challenges that nonprofits face, certainly that small businesses face. And so I'm definitely ready for the challenge. And I think especially in this moment, when trust in government is at, I think, an all-time low, you need people in government that know how to do the job. And you don't want people that have to spend their first year training, I'll be ready on day one. And so that's why I'm running.
That's fantastic. So guys, if you do have other questions, just put them in the chat, because we can put them up on the screen and she can definitely see them. So let us know what questions you have in her district.
And
so
I saw some Bay Ridge representation. I'm sorry, Marianne. I think I saw John Manning. Hey, John Manning. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Hi, Maureen.
So there's already people that you recognize.
Yeah, at least one. And I think Maureen and I had interacted at one point, but as I told Marianne, I was knocking on doors, and it's and I mean this, it's a testament to all of you, to Marianne, to this operation, that, I'd be knocking on doors of people and they'd go, okay, well, you support 1096 and you support the retirees, but you haven't been on Marianne's live and I don't know who you are. So I swear, in the Democratic primary, people were like, well, if you haven't been on Marianne's live, then, how do we know who you are? So that's where I am.
Absolutely. Well, and it's funny, no one is asked about where you stand on our position.
Yeah. Why don't we start with that? Maybe I'll do that first. So you probably heard in that little intro that I gave you that I'm a public servant by training. I've been a public servant in some way, shape, or form for most of my life. That started with the council, but it was also, again, while I was a law department attorney. And I talk about the law department attorney experience when I'm talking about 1096 and about Medicare and Medicare Advantage, because when I graduated law school and became, and passed the bar, I chose to be a city attorney. Could I have gone to work for a corporate law firm? Could I have gone to make, 3 times the salary? I could have, but I wanted to serve and I wanted the work-life balance. And I knew that, okay, maybe my salary wasn't ideal, but the benefits are what in the end make this worth it in the long run. Right. And so to me, I was, I would be furious if I had retired and after I had signed up for all of those years of service and served a city that I know we all love, for those benefits to be switched on me. And at a moment when there's no representation, you don't have somebody directly representing you at the bargaining table. It's not fair. It's a bait and switch. And I think for me, as someone who wants to keep working in the city and to see our city work for people, we can't do these kinds of things and then expect that we'll still be able to recruit people to work in city agencies. And I love the city with my entire heart. I want our agencies to be amazing. I believe in the goodness of government. I want our agencies to be the best they can be. We can't do that if we are depriving people of benefits that we promised them in the beginning. So that is my that's my story about why I care about your fight. I also don't believe in the privatization of healthcare. I believe in Medicare for all. I believe in healthcare for all. I just as a core belief. And so we don't have that yet. But what we certainly should not be doing is undermining the Medicare that everybody is entitled to and that they should be getting. So
Right.
that's my answer. Yes, I support.
And so that you guys know, just before we went live, we were talking about this. She totally understands. Like, there's still a couple people, elected officials, that don't understand retirees don't collectively bargain. She's an attorney. She understands that.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part, is there's like 12 attorneys in the city council sitting in council seats. We have a lot of work to do, girl.
And I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm very proud to be an attorney. I worked my butt off for it. I did it later in life. It was never the plan, but it's what ended up happening. And I'm not always someone that says, people should be attorneys to be running for office. We need everybody's experience to be running for office, but I'm definitely one of those people that looks pretty critically at bills, looks pretty critically at legislation, at city rules. I have some tricks up my sleeve on how to save the city money. That is basically a deep dive into the administrative code. So I'm a nerdy person on that kind of thing. And for better or for worse, that's what you got.
And that's great, because that fits in with me too. We started deep diving into history, going back into the 60s, pulling all the old archives, digging in through Labor Wagner archives, pulling out the old memos. And that's when council and mayor's office actually used to give the Labor Wagner archives a plethora of documents so that you can track all of this.
Yeah.
And that hasn't been happening recently. I would say probably like the last 10 years. So finding all of these documents, or what some of these backdoor conversations are, I can't see anymore, where we, after certain periods of time, you were able to see them through Labor Wagner archive. That's how we were able to learn. The council has done this. Like, for example, some in the speaker's realm will tell you that this shouldn't be on the speaker's office. This should be the mayor to fix. Well, okay, I agree that in some aspect you could say, hey, it's the mayor should have fixed this. But it was always the city council that actually did. And no matter that history, and one of the biggest pieces of history we have was women leadership. Back in the 70s, and you probably heard me tell the story a million times to Justin, was you had Eileen Ryan, who was a member at large from the Bronx, and you had Mary Pinkett from Brooklyn, who was also District 28 and 35, because they've redistricted Brooklyn a million times. And
yeah.
So both of them, back in 1977, we were in a fight for our life for our Medicare B reimbursement, and it was the council that did it. The council gave retirees Medicare B premium back after a Victor Gottbaum DC-37, history repeats itself, decided in the fiscal crisis to give it up. And then the speech, and if you've never seen this, I will email this to you later. Eileen Ryan, there's a park in the Bronx named after Eileen. Eileen read this speech in 1977 from the council floor about how criminal it was to try to take away. Someone not thinking right would, try to take away. Someone was trying to save money and decided to take away, their low income relatives' Medicare B premium reimbursement. It was a phenomenal speech for a woman in 1977.
Yeah.
And yet the council did it today. It's like we're banging our heads against the wall. Because if you speak to my team literally teases me to this day. When we started this fight in like March of 21, in the middle of a pandemic, I said, oh, don't worry. Let's start this group. We'll go after the city. The council is Democratic. It's 51 women, mostly women. They're mostly women and Democrats. They'll get it. Women are smart. They're nurturers. They'll understand. And this is a Democratic Party platform position. 6 months, slam dunk.
Yeah, and here we are.
4.5 years later.
Yeah.
4.5 years later, here we are still fighting.
I know history repeats itself. I mean, I think the important thing is that, the council, sometimes mayors forget that the council is the co-equal branch of government, right? Like that's what's going on. And so I'm sure, and I get it. Like we never want this to be a fight, right? We never want to have a constant fighting relationship between the city council and the mayor. We would rather that not happen. We'd rather hash that out before we have to pass legislation against a mayor's wishes, right? But it's a check and a balance. You have to do what you have to do. Marie, yes. So the pledge, Marianne,
I just sent it to her today.
So my team, we're ready to sign it. I got it today, a couple hours before the Zoom, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it to you. It'll be up on my website.
Let her read it. When she signs it, I'll let you know. But she's telling you her support here. And so, and I think the reason why they're asking like a lot at this point is that they keep coming up is because we've had people say that they supported us like Jaws and then not. That was before we were doing this way where we would take your verbal promise and then we now ask you to. So don't worry, when she does put it in writing, I will make sure to tell you, and don't worry, she'll come back and answer your questions. Anthony, you do keep asking me if I'm getting a new PO box. We have one PO box for all donations, so no matter what your donations are for, just send it to the same PO box. Everything goes to the same place. It has to go to the accountant. I've got one accountant. He deposits the money and he pays the lawyers. I just got one. The other PO box we have is only for communications only. So, okay. Laura says, thank you, Kayla. Can you please assure us that you will not turn your back on us when compromised labor leaders and a Democratic machine threatens candidates who choose to stand for us through a perfectly reasonable pledge and Bill 1096?
Yeah. So listen, I mean, yes, because I have, in my conversations throughout the primary, whether that's with labor leaders, whether that's, if I had conversations with other elected officials, I have told the same story that I told to you all, which is that, yes, I'm a public servant because I'm a worker in the city council, but I was a public servant before then. And so this runs deep for me. I want to be a public servant for the rest of my life in some capacity. And so, yeah, I mean, I've been clear that I had a problem with Medicare Advantage. And so that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. And Marie asked me a follow-up question that I want to address because she had asked me at some point, how I felt about it. And I said at that time, because this was before the most recent appeal decision came down, that I've said, you're winning in the courts and that's the way it should be. That's what we need. And so I think at that point I had said to her, I'd like to see how the courts rule. Now that the appeal was not successful, we need that backing. So that's why it's not a changing of my mind, but it's me saying, with the courts ruling as they have, I believe that we need to get this down.
And we did say several times after this, because we were you have a Supreme Court decision, then you have a unanimous appeals decision. It's very unlikely to get a court of appeals to flip to lower courts. It's unusual. Right. The only thing that we can come up with in that case in that decision was that this was a politically appointed court. These are not elected judges. And then the other thing is that their concern at oral arguments was, how would this decision affect the doctrine of promissory estoppel with other municipalities within the state? And unfortunately, they took the position that we didn't prove we were made a promise, which I think is BS. And many people do agree with that statement I just made.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a deputy mayor that wrote an affidavit, and we had hundreds of affidavits showing the promise. So they didn't believe that there was a promise, that we didn't prove that there was a promise that was made that they can force the city to uphold. But the decision doesn't undo all the things that that the lower courts found, that Medicare Advantage is a diminishment, that retirees wouldn't have access to all doctors and hospitals, that there would be situations like the Aetna lawyer even said, in which the company would make its own opinion on medical necessity, and that retirees may not have access not just to doctors and hospitals, but to care that their primary doctors wanted them to have.
Yeah.
And when the Aetna attorney, and the retirees are going to remember this, during oral arguments in Supreme Court, our attorney was talking about a case, Arana Cunningham versus Aetna. And Arana had a brainstem cancer. It was at the base of her skull, and Aetna was refusing proton beam treatment for her cancer treatment. The family basically liquidated all of their assets, sold their home, tried to raise enough money to fund her cancer care. And Aetna still determined that it wasn't medically necessary, even on appeal, and the family was trying to fund it. Arana died. And she was young. So she was young. She was not, she wasn't a child, but she was a mom and a wife. So our attorney brought this up as prior authorization from this company denied this treatment that is a widely known, accepted treatment for this kind of cancer. And so the Aetna lawyer said, well, Your Honor, that those retirees' attorney only brought up one person that died. I mean, these are business decisions that insurance companies have to make for what we determine is medically necessary. Now, mind you, I want to put you in this setting as an attorney. You'd appreciate this. It was our first in-person court hearing because we were just coming out of COVID, and courts were finally open because at this time courts were being held virtually.
Yep.
And we had jam-packed that courtroom. We had so many retirees there that they had to move us to the largest courtroom that they had, which still wasn't big. And so we're there, and the whole room was aghast. Like, you heard like when he said that, like he literally diminished the value of one woman's life because it was one woman that we talked about. Now, we didn't think we had to dive into a million different people that died because of prior authorization. To us, one was enough. And clearly to the judge, one was enough too, because the judge said, first of all, after the whole sigh in the courtroom, the judge was sitting like this, his head on his hand, and his whole face cringed. And he said, sir, to this court, if one person died because of an insurance company's business decision, that's one person too many. Oof. And we were like, yes. That literally came out of the Aetna lawyer's mouth.
Wow. Literally.
And I wish to this day that there was a court reporter in that room, but there wasn't. But there were 100 retirees and a handful of attorneys that and Judge Frank memorialized that comment in his decision.
Good.
Yes.
I mean, that's it. It's like when someone shows you who they are, believe them, right? I mean, that's like the comment about one person is just one person. That's it. That's all
and
you need
to
to
us, life is important. One person.
That's right. That's right.
Right. So that's why to them that this story resonates, because I mean, that shows you the ills of privatization. We really thought after Supreme Court decision, and then the mayor appealed, went to the appeals court, unanimous decision again. And we'd been to the appeals court twice with the unanimous decision, at Campion and then in Bentkowski. Yeah. We would never have thought we would have had this case overturned. We would have had this case overturned on in the Court of Appeals.
Yeah. So I saw some comments. Joe, I mean, I don't see a basis for 1096 being illegal from what I know and understand. I would be interested in hearing specifically from my potential future colleagues about why they specifically think it's illegal.
Us too.
I'm not, from what I've read, understand, and know, I don't believe it is.
Right. Because we're not in unions. We don't touch collective bargaining.
Yeah.
What we're asking for those that are currently retired doesn't affect what they want to do. There's been no change to to retiree benefits at this time.
Yeah.
That we're not in unions, we don't collectively bargain, and we don't touch their contracts. And you're only saying keep the status quo. We're not asking for any more. We're just saying don't give us any less.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's not a renegotiation, right? I mean, that's it.
No.
Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I'm capturing everybody.
Let's not lose sight of our 18 friends. Yes, Diana, we have 18 current council persons on our legislation. We're hoping to get a majority. We're also and that'll come soon. We're going to start again very soon on trying to encourage those that are not on the bill. Our board just had a meeting with a handful of council persons just the other day. Most of them on that call were on the bill, but there were a few that weren't. So we're just trying to wait and see what happens. Okay, so hang in there.
Yeah.
What are your colleagues saying and doing to help? Now, remember, she is an employee in a council person's office, so she doesn't really have that control. But that would be a good question when Justin comes on.
Yeah, exactly. I don't currently have influence on other council members' decisions or anything like that. And I'll let Justin speak for himself. He does a very good job of it.
I know.
But it's certainly something that should I be elected, I'd love to speak with other colleagues about and understand, where they're at and try to get everybody on board.
Yeah. So the state bill, so Matthew's correct on this. So on the state side, we have a state bill that would protect all municipal retirees. And that bill was literally undermined by the New York State AFL-CIO, who's like another umbrella organization of unions, and brought with them to get our Senate sponsor to drop the Senate bill. And it was really kind of ugly because those unions were mostly city unions that came to impress upon that senator to drop our legislation and then reintroduce it with language that was not very helpful to us. That really wasn't helpful. Yeah. It just basically made it useless because it killed our bill for this session. And then the bill, the purpose of the protection is no longer there. But it was done by a group of unions with the New York State AFL-CIO and their lobbyists. So we're hoping to bring that back and help those state retirees as well. Laura says Medicare Advantage is not just a scam. We are faced with a MLC and City Council that chooses to kill our 1096, which would protect our vested benefits diminished to fund current employee negotiation trade-offs. So we're in this position literally. So maybe you're aware, maybe you're not, but because the Mayor's Office of Labor Relations made a deal in 2014 and again in 2018 to fund contracts by healthcare savings. And then this was conceived to be a savings when they're even in the independent budget office had said there really isn't a savings, and that it would cause retirees much more difficulty with access to healthcare, especially those that are in areas where their doctors or hospitals don't accept Medicare Advantage, or they're in rural areas where rural hospitals don't accept MA either. And you're seeing that more and more. So yeah, that's yet still one more thing.
Yeah. And I mean, and this is a little tangential, but one of the reasons that I feel passionately about this is because, like with everything that's going on the federal level, I was just listening to NPR Marketplace the other day, and there was a report that basically if no change happens to Social Security, they expect that in 8 years, benefits will have to be cut. So it's like when things like that are happening and we have discussions about, backdoor privatization of things like Social Security, we have to do everything we can on the local front to make sure, that benefits aren't being cut, that our social safety net, isn't being disintegrated. So, that's one of the reasons that I'm supportive of this.
Camille says, I wrote to Purina Sanchez and asked her to please send me the lawyer's comments who told her our bill was illegal, never heard back. So Camille, I'm going to tell you why they're probably not emailing you back is because the lawyers won't put it in writing. But we do have one document from the law department where they doubt in 2 places their own opinion. I could send that to her as well. But the reason the counsel to the council Back in during Giuliani days, when this was an issue then, Medicare B reimbursement at the time was an issue, the counsel to the council and the law department wrote a memo for the mayor to the council and gave the reasons why they thought it was illegal. Now, some of those opinions were argued in Mayor versus City Council in an EMS case in like 2000 when the council granted uniform status to EMS.
Yeah.
And it was some of the same arguments, and the court shot that down. So if they shot it down in that case, they probably would shoot it down in this one.
Right.
Well, the last 1096 amendment was done in 2001 by Mary Pinkett before she retired. And the mayor then, it was Medicare B reimbursement was finalized that it would be reimbursed in full. And that the council didn't have to keep coming back every year to renew it like they had always been doing since the 70s.
Yeah.
So when that bill passed, the Giuliani filed to sue the council to block it. And it wasn't until the Bloomberg administration did they withdraw that appeal. So I'll tell you that they probably recognized, and I know there were a few attorneys that were still around back from them, but they probably left. That has never been challenged. It had never been successfully challenged. And if there was an issue with the council granting retirees full Medicare B reimbursement without having to come back to the council on an annual basis for it to keep up with the rate of inflation, then that would have been fought at some time. Or they would have made the change and waited to see if there was any litigation and then just fought it to see if it would have won. That never happened. And that's why the council has amended 12-126 dozens of times from 1970-ish up until 2001. And it was always done by the council. So, yeah, I can't tell you.
You know what I think we need is like the history lesson of 1096. Like, you know, you need to give like an annual, or it shouldn't be annual, but you know, it's like a monthly PowerPoint to people to be like, hello, this didn't come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? This didn't
how
come
do
out
you
of
keep
nowhere.
it under 60 seconds? Because you lose people with history once you go over like 4 minutes. Like they're like, oh God, this is dragging on too long.
We have to get you in a podcast studio with like some music and some sound effects, and then we'll do
I have my own radio show, and I do this every Friday, and I'm on Substack, and I'm on everywhere.
You're not reading me already. Yeah.
I don't know. So here's Joe. Joe says, this is a great comment. Have you heard Alan Klinger's secret tape? So Alan, in an MLC meeting, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, Alan Klinger was in a municipal labor committee, and then one of the unions sent us audio from this meeting, and he's being asked a question by one of the unions about our bill, 1099 at the time.
Okay.
And the bill was like literally 2 freaking sentences. It said that the city had to provide retirees with a city-paid supplemental plan to traditional Medicare, and nothing in this bill violated collective bargaining or impaired a union from negotiating, right?
Okay.
2 sentences. That was it. And it was a little letter E that was added at 1296 onto 12-126. It was a little letter E that was added to 12-126. That was the first bill that we actually got introduced by Councilman Charles Barron, right? 2 sentences. And we had pared down our original bill, which is the one we have today.
Got it.
So simple. They still said all the bullshit that they say today. It's illegal. It violates collective bargaining. It's the most dangerous bill in the world, Garrido called it. I mean, like everything you could possibly imagine, right? It was 2 sentences. It was 2 sentences. So this union leader says, hey, Alan, why do they keep saying that this bill is illegal? The bill's not illegal. I mean, it even says it doesn't impair bargaining. Why do you keep saying it impairs collective bargaining? So Alan Klinger says, well, it's not illegal on its own, but what it would do is if the city had to pay for those retirees, it's less than it would pay for you.
Oh. Okay.
So I put that on YouTube. And then for those that didn't understand the context, so I have it like 2 minutes. It's literally a 2-minute conversation between the union leader and Alan Klinger, who's the attorney for the MLC, the attorney for the UFT, DC37, CWA. I mean, like a whole bunch of lawyers. There's even like conflicts there, but that's a whole nother show. So I then take another video in like, I don't know, 15 minutes, and I break down the commentary so that people understand the context in what this means and why the bill's not illegal and why it doesn't violate collective bargaining. And he literally lets it, and I literally say this, like he lets the cat out of the bag. Like he's literally saying it's not illegal, but if the city's paying for them old and disabled people, it's not going to give you the cash. That's the criminal part of that.
Right. Yeah. And I think John is sort of saying something along those lines that I want to respond to, because he's saying this is not merely about fiscal responsibility. It's that they're, people milk it for executive compensation and whatnot. And, I this is the part that I agree with, is that this is just a promise that was made, right? This is a promise that was made.
Yes.
And it's not the retirees' job to balance the budget. That's not the burden that the retirees carry on their backs, right? It was a promise.
We helped you do that when you gave us lower wages.
Right. And I can tell you, and this is where I start, you were talking about people lose focus on history after 4 minutes. People's eyes start to glaze over when I talk about what I saw in the law department, which is that you want to talk about, fighting waste and preserving taxpayer dollars. Like, I see what we pay out on civil lawsuits. I see, I saw what we waste. So there are plenty of ways that we can save taxpayer money, where we can reduce waste. But it can't be on the backs of people who serve the city and who we made a promise to. So I agree with your characterization.
Low employment now. You have a high rate of vacancies in the city since even just around the pandemic. You've not pulled them back in, and this whole time we've not filled those slots. That's been the savings to the city, right? That is a major fiscal savings. You're not paying to train someone, you're not giving them benefits, and you're not giving them wages. And you're not paying pension. That's huge.
Right.
Those are 4 major savings points. And the last time I checked, and maybe the numbers changed in headcount, you're still looking at about 25,000 people short. So that does say something. Williams says, but there's been a change. We now have copays. If 1096 is passed, will copays stop for retirees? So that's the goal, William, is because 1096 says that the bill says that that the city has to offer you a supplemental plan, what was like what was in effect on 12/31 of 2021. And that was the day before the city implemented the copays illegally in 2022. So Kayla, if you don't know, the city had a contractual violation in that they implemented copays on retirees without there being a contractual provision in the contract between the city and the insurance company to allow for charges for copays to retirees. So we got the injunction, the copays got stopped. We're in the middle of still negotiating those reimbursements, and those will probably be coming in the near future, right? But just the city's still bickering back and forth. Because there's a process now to reimburse $53 million to retirees that were illegally charged. But what they did do is they went back and they renegotiated that contract to impose copays for the first time in 60 years. Well, I guess technically the second time. And the whole purpose of those copays was to go around the court's decision. Instead of charging us $200 a month for premium, now they're going to charge you $200 a month in copays.
Yeah.
But in a copay situation, charging retirees, elders, or disabled for using their healthcare is literally a tax on the infirm. And so if you have a retiree that goes to chemo or goes to cardiac rehab or occupational therapy, these PT, physical therapy, these are people who are going for care 2 to 3 times a week just for one thing, just for, let's say, PT. Then you go to your cardiologist. But then what they did was the city reinterpreted, and we're right now fighting labor relations on this right now.
Yeah.
They told us in November that this would be one copay per visit. Okay, we can kind of tolerate some of that while we're fighting this, but then they reinterpreted one copay per visit per provider. So we were like, what are you talking about? Okay, so here, for example.
Okay, so you go to get you go and you get a scan, and then you talk with a doctor, and you get a copay for the scan and a copay for the doctor and a copay for the blood draw. Okay.
And if you're in a hospital institution, because that's where your doctor's office is, which many hospitals have been gobbling up doctor practices, now you get a facility charge. So that $15 copay can now cost you $45 to $60 a visit. Oof. Every time you go.
And if you're in a rural facility where it's only those big hospitals,
yeah,
right, you don't have a choice.
We emailed labor relations in May, because we have a handful of retirees that'll probably be on this chat watching, because they ask us every week, where's the update to our case? And labor relations isn't answering. So on top of all of this, when I was up in the New York State Court of Appeals, I fell, I developed frozen shoulder, and I go to physical therapy 3 times a week to try to get range of motion back in my arm. I also developed a severe deep tissue bruise in my calf that went down to the bone. So I thought that would go away. When it wasn't going away, I went to the doctor. And then, of course, I became a victim of the same thing. Now I've got physical therapy 3 times a week. And when I went to the vein doctor for this really massive deep tissue bruise, I saw the doctor. Then they sent me down the hall for a vein Doppler to see if I had a deep vein thrombosis, if I had a blood clot. The doctor, I got a charge for $15 for the doctor, $15 for the doctor that read the Doppler. And then they just kept coming. And I'm going, now this is the crazy thing. 1 per provider. So you've got Southern Vein, that's the doctor.
Right.
And then you're thinking that's the provider because it's a $30 bill. So if the provider is the doctor's office, but then you got dinged for 3 or 4 copays from that one provider because they then decided to interpret provider was every person within the practice.
Oof.
And that's what they're doing. And so I have to keep reminding them is many of the DC-37 retirees, 2/3 of them make pensions under $35,000, which I always say I am a $35,000 pensioner, and 1/3 of them make under $12,000. So they're getting nickeled and dimed to death on these copays. So when you went back and look, we asked them for their EOBs. And I literally posted this on Twitter. I posted my medical bill. So Medicare covered 80%, sent the last 20 to Emblem. Emblem charged me $15 and they paid 22 cents. On another invoice, Medicare paid 80%. They charged me $13.26. Emblem paid nothing. I'm paying for my health care. These people are paying for their health care.
That's right.
What the hell?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's why. So William, yes, if 1096 passes, it would protect you from this because I don't think they see what they're doing to all of you. And so far, no one's had this conversation with us. So we're trying to get into the room with our new liaisons to have this conversation because they have to see this, especially that the Mayor's Office of Labor Relations is ignoring all of the complaints from all of you that we've been giving them, including my own. So, I mean, it's like the hair club for men. I am one of you.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. And the only other thing I'll add is just so you all understand, you don't know that much about me, but one of the things that informs my perspective on this is that I for a young person have had a dizzyingly amount of health issues, just some chronic stuff that has followed me for most of my adult life. And so I have been, in and out of doctor's offices a fair amount. I'm 35, but it's the bills, the bills and the record are too too long for someone that's 35. That's all to say, that's part of the reason that I chose to be a public servant because I wanted high quality health insurance, and I know that it adds up when you have to go in and out of the doctor and when you have regular visits that you have to make. So again, all the more reason why, you should be fully covered and the city should do what it said. Yeah.
This is funny. Can you find out the tactics DC37 and U of T are using to convince council members and others to vote against 1096? I could tell you that, Long Beach. So literally, they're lobbying council members that they want them. You know this. I did several videos on this where I'm showing you that they're spending lobby money to lobby against council members, to lobby against state elected officials. I did 2 videos on that. One on UFT. One on DC37 AFL and APSME. I did several, and I literally show you their lobby sheets. So that's exactly what they're doing, and then pressuring them. And then here's the kick in the head, right? We also did a video on this too. DC37 did a meeting in March, April of this year where they said that they would not support or endorse any candidate that was supporting retirees or supporting our legislation. And if they did, they would unendorse them. And then they unendorsed in the same meeting Alexa Viles. Alexa Viles slayed her last election without any support from DC37. So I think it's starting to show people that they don't really need the union support. Here's another key to that to prove again what I just said. During the election, you had some union leaders that came out to endorse a candidate that the rank and file disagreed with. And then that the rank and file voted the way they wanted to, not the way the leadership had announced that they were supporting. So it's literally, they become paper tigers, especially when there's that disconnect between the leadership and the rank and file. And we've been saying this for years, but I think council members are finally starting to see that, especially after the last two election seasons. So hopefully that explains that for you. That's our COPE money. Yes, Long Beach, that is your COPE, your people's, that's called political action campaign money that your former unions are using literally against you. That's why we decided to create our own political action fund. We have a special link just for that. If I have it up, I do have it up on my screen. I will drop that in the chat, and it is a specific link because those political action money donations are literally like $5 or $10 a month. It's like really inexpensive. It's not like your donation to the legal battle and the organizations fight, but it's separate. So if you wanted to do $5 a month, that's something that you can do. It's a separate link, and it's just used to help us offset the lobbying costs to try to get our bills passed on the city and the state. So those are your 2 different avenues. If you wanted to make a donation to the org, the link is literally ticking down at the bottom. And so you can go there, sign up for our newsletters if you're not getting them, sign up to make a donation, or everything would go onto our main website. But for political action, I just dropped that link in the chat. Now you have a website as well, right?
Me? Yes. So my website is kaylaforcounsel.com. So my first name, Kayla for counsel.com. And my information's there. Just note, the pledge is not up there yet. It will be. So, don't be surprised if you go and it's not there. Yeah, that's all my information's there. The policies I'm fighting for. If you feel like making a donation, particularly if you're still a New York City resident, because of our public matching funds program, all donations get matched 8-to-1. So any amount, if you're a New York, any amount from anywhere is great. But especially if you're a New York City resident, anything's helpful. All my contact information is there.
Your policies, your endorsement. I'm sharing your screen for you.
Yeah. So that's everything's there. And please feel free to reach out if you want to stay connected, especially if you're in Southern Brooklyn. I have I can talk about my race a little bit, if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. The floor is yours.
So if you're not familiar, my district is one of the more competitive general elections in the city. And so, yes, I actually won my primary with 80% of the vote, with over 10,000 votes, which is pretty rare for down here. But then, I still have to win the general election, and they are always competitive. The district really can surprise us and go either way. And, you know, like I said, if for any of you that were not here in the beginning, you know, I'm running because I know how to do the job I'm running for. But also, you know, one of my main things that I'm fighting for is to make sure that generations of families can afford to stay in Southern Brooklyn and want to stay in Southern Brooklyn. That's a dual focus for me on affordability, which I think this is a major part of, by the way, but also on quality of life. I love Southern Brooklyn. I live in Bay Ridge. It's my favorite place in the world. And, you know, that means that when you love something, you take care of it, right? And so I want to make sure that our parks and playgrounds have working, safe, and clean bathrooms for seniors and families to use. I want our streets and sidewalks to be clean and safe, meaning you shouldn't get worried you're going to get hit by a car or a moped, but you also shouldn't be walking through trash either, right? And I also want to fight for a universal childcare program because we're seeing a lot of working and middle-class families leaving Southern Brooklyn and the city generally. I'm losing friends to Jersey and other far-flung states. No offense to anybody in Jersey or anywhere else, but if I can keep people here, I want to keep them here. And so, you know, that's where I'm coming from. I'm a person who believes in government to deliver for people. I want to be that model. And so I just want to see people, you know, served by their local government and make sure that the city is working for them. Somebody asked about my position on a casino in Coney Island. So I'll just add, I'm against the casino. The decision will be made before me. It will happen before I take office. But I am personally against a casino in Coney Island. I'm not against casinos generally, honestly, but in Coney Island, I think it makes no sense for a handful of reasons.
Okay. And then Janice also says, what can you do to clean up the streets on the west side of Shore Road? They are a mess.
Yeah, it's technically, yeah, it's actually technically Parks jurisdiction because it's, I think what Janice is referring to is along the park side of the street. If I'm wrong, Janice, let me know. But yeah, there's cleaning up the streets and sidewalks is a multi-tiered problem, but I have a few ideas. One is that we, for some reason, have a bunch of trash cans. I'm sorry, we're getting very micro. We have a bunch of trash cans in Southern Brooklyn that don't have lids. We need to replace all of them with baskets that are actually big enough to hold everything and that have lids. Along Shore Road, part of the problem is just that there's a jurisdictional battle sometimes between sanitation and parks because parks picks up their own trash. And so there needs to just be regular trash pickup along the fence and along Shore Road. Part of the problem is that the parks budget still isn't at what it should be.
Right.
We have a lot of capital funding for parks, but we don't always have, you know, the ongoing operational needs to keep our parks clean. So we need to get the budget up to be doing that. But my campaign since July and August has been kind of slow for campaigning. My campaign has been doing weekly neighborhood cleanups. So we've actually, instead of doing our Wednesday phone banks, we actually take people out. I get my staff out and volunteers and we go and we clean up trash. Because I think we also, you know, trash doesn't fall from the sky. We need to set new norms in the neighborhood about not creating trash in the first place. So I'm going to use my campaign and my platform to try to set some new norms, you know, call people out when they're creating messes and also take on some of the responsibility of cleanup ourselves.
That's great. And Janice confirms Waterside.
Waterside. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sherry also says good luck to you. So you do have a lot of support here.
I appreciate everybody.
Faye says, my daughter is now in charge of JJ Cardi.
Yay! That's great. I'm so happy to hear it. Sadly, it's temp. Right. And this is right. So this is what we're seeing more and more of, is that we're relying on super part-time, super temp work to keep our parks clean. You know, we can't treat it as a side project. Our parks and playgrounds are part of livability. They're part of what makes the city affordable. And, you know, we gotta keep them clean.
Preserve our green spaces.
That's right.
Absolutely. What about even getting like your Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, some of your more community groups to help participate in some of that? We used to do that as kids. That's why I'm saying that in Girl Scouts, they would have us go pick up garbage around the park or in the school playground after school.
Yeah. And, you know, it used to be that Southern Brooklyn, at least, probably throughout more of Brooklyn, that was full of block associations, and it's something that I'd really like to try to bring back and encourage through my office. It's just people saying, okay, we own this block, we live here, we're going to take responsibility for it. I'm not saying all the work needs to go on individuals,
Right.
but I think it sets new norms for people, and sort of serves to hold people accountable. So I want to bring back some of that too.
All right, cool. Well, it seems like Janet's like that.
Thank you,
You do sound like the best choice.
That's sweet.
So I'm going to give you the last. We're doing this an hour, almost an hour. So if you have anything you want to add, I will drop your website again in the chat for everyone, and I'll make sure I put it out on our website for people that want to learn more about you. And you're always welcome to come back. But in closing, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I will just say thank you for having me on. Thank you all for your fight. Thank you for being so organized, and for stepping in to be the representation for yourselves that you really don't have, in this moment
Anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to, congratulate you on all of your organizing, Marianne, especially, and, keep it up. You give me pride in city service. You give me pride in our city. This is what it means to be both, a New Yorker, but also this is what it means to take pride in civil service and want that to continue in the future. So
yes,
I appreciate all you do.
I have to share with you 2 videos that we did a couple years ago where we asked our retirees to give us their picture today. So like 2 years ago. So their current picture, and then the picture from when they were working. And then
I would love to see that.
We did 2 videos like this, and we told some stories a little bit about each, some of them. And so, I mean, some of them run like 15 or 18 minutes, but they are super
cool.
sweet. And this generation, we worked for decades. Like many of the people here worked 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years for the city of New York.
That's right.
And so, like I had said to you yesterday, many of them also in their 80s, 90s, our oldest retiree is 104.
Wow.
When they retired, they don't have the money that they have today, which is a huge difference. Yeah. And this is why we always say we're not seen. They don't think about our incomes the way that they should. And I guess they just assume, because many of them make $150,000, $250,000, $350,000 a year. Some of the union leaders up to $500,000 a year. They don't see the struggle that we have. So when we say we are a vulnerable population, we truly are. And when we want to talk about affordability, and this is where they also get frustrated, is that there's one specific particular person running for mayor who's not speaking with us. Psst. And he's not speaking to our issues, but he's running on an affordability issue. And this should be the population that he's speaking to. So he needs to see us. He needs to hear their story. And that's really super important. So that's a conversation I'll have with Justin and Brad and whatever. But yeah. For your issue, yes, he'll come. He'll come.
Yeah.
But so that you see them, I know you see us. You understand. You understand it. So I appreciate you coming to answer their questions in real time and listening.
Somebody said I should come back next time with a nickname for myself.
Yeah. So Laura, as soon as.
So I was just going to let you know that.
Where was that?
The person come back next week with the Bulldog for a co-interview and come with a nickname. I just want you to know that the person I get compared to most often is Leslie Knope from Parks and Rec. So I am Southern Brooklyn's Leslie Knope. Doesn't roll off the tongue like Bulldog does, but just there you go. That's what I'm claiming. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. All right. Well, yeah. See, you didn't think you were going to get entertained tonight either.
I don't know. I had a feeling.
Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
And see, and everyone thinks we're scary. That we're not scary. We're really not.
Well, it's
Anyway,
just
have
power.
a wonderful
It's
weekend.
yeah.
I look forward.
Thank you so much. Thanks,
It's
everybody.
power that they're afraid of. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what a real organization does. This is what real unions should be doing. Yeah. What one day. Where we'll go back to retirement, guys.
Yeah, right.
We won't scare anybody anymore. You enjoy your weekend, Kayla. I appreciate you
you.
coming to spend the hour with us and answering everyone's questions. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. So I'm gonna put you in the chat. You're free to leave.
Okay.
Let me know if you need anything. A couple of our people were sending you like the Alan Klinger video, and I'll send you the 2 senior videos when I'm done. You have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much for the time. Bye.
Bye. So everyone, I can't thank you guys enough for always being open to meeting people and asking the important questions that mean the most to you. Remember your homework. You have 2 things for me tonight. Thank you first for all of you that have been doing op-eds. I do truly appreciate you guys doing that. We're working on their placement. Remember as well, if you know of organizations, whether local, state, or federal, or community that are supporting retirees and our legislation, please let us know in an email to the org, retirees@nycretirees.org. The email website is down at the bottom, nycretirees.org. Just send us an email, let us know with a link to the organization and a contact if you have it. I would totally appreciate that. And then start sending those birthday cards to Mayor Adams because his birthday is September 1st and he turns 65. Guess what? He's Medicare eligible. And so 3 months before his Medicare eligibility, he should have been advised that he was eligible. Now, he's still an employee, so he's still on employee health care. He doesn't have to be on Medicare. But in case he's not in office in the future, he needs to know that he's Medicare eligible. So on September 2nd, we are going to City Hall to sing him happy birthday and bring him a Medicare card and welcome to the Medicare Club. So we'll do that. I'll let you know the time, but just please put that on your calendar. And then also remember to put on your calendar Saturday, September 6th. It's the Labor Day Parade in Manhattan. We're marching from around 44th Street-ish and 5th Avenue down to like 60-something Street. And it'll just spend the afternoon with us, okay? Now, if you're sending those birthday cards to Eric, you're going to wish him happy birthday. You're going to be kind. You can be funny. And you're going to please ask him to support 1096 and get the speaker to support 1096. And send that birthday card to City Hall, Mayor Eric Adams, City Hall, New York, 10007. And so send out those cards. So let us know if you did them. Go buy a 99-cent card, make your card, draw a card. Be joyous. He's turning 65. Yes, Pop Chop Charlie. It is the Labor Day Parade, and we are looking forward to that again. Eric, you be put on Medicare Advantage. No, we don't want anyone to go on Medicare Advantage. Camille, I will sing through my teeth. Yes, happy birthday, Mayor Adams. I know. Camille says she went to Jim Walden's event on Wednesday. It was wonderful, except getting soaked in the storm when I left. LOL. Well, Camille, maybe I'll see if I can find umbrellas with our logo and put them in our Cafe Press store. But you guys have a great weekend. That's all the homework that I have for you guys now. And I hope the Medicare card is large enough to be viewed by the media. It should be 3 feet big. And if you get there early enough, maybe you could help me carry it. So hang in there. Enjoy your weekend. Yes, he's vegan. I think he's vegan. You guys enjoy your weekend. Do your homework. And I'll see you Monday. Remember, I'll be on the radio Monday at 5 p.m. on 99.5 WBAI. We have our own show now, which has been really fun. And absolutely love doing that. And we have another guest coming to join us. So I will probably announce that over the weekend. But join us on Monday at 5 p.m. If you've missed the previous shows, just go to WBAI.org. You can go to the archive and look up our show, The Labor and Healthcare Confidential. So hope you enjoy it. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day. Be safe, and I'll see you Monday. Ciao.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not in your command. Don't shout about what you think is fake. The decision isn't yours to make.